Welcome to episode 2 of Curious Mama Conversation. I'm Zann. People also call me Mama Zann. And we are very happy to be with us today again, Ava, the professional parenting coach, to discuss with us regarding parenting. So how can parents prepare themselves for postpartum?
Yeah, so for postpartum, typically most people would think it's the confinement period. So basically it's like 30 days or 40 days, depending on what culture and what kind of confinement practices that we follow. But one of the main things that many mothers may forget, other than buying all the things, like the confinement herbs or the food, is to prepare emotionally as well. So I think one of the things that I believe in is it takes a village to raise a child, and it also takes a village to raise a mother. So other than the physical recovery to expect, regardless of the delivery that the mother go through, it's also about allowing the emotional support and having people who can provide, whether is it very hands-on support of carrying the baby or emotional support like understanding the emotional changes and the identity changes that the new mother is going through.
Yeah, so what I understand is that a new mother will have a lot of questions. And it is important when they ask the right question to the right person. Do you have any advice regarding who a new mother can seek advice from?
Yeah, so I think it really depends on what kind of things or struggles that the mother is facing. If let's say it's about recovery perspective, physical recovery, then of course there are gynae that they see is one of the options in terms of trying to make sure that physical recovery after birth is there. But in terms of like very practical things like caring for a child, breastfeeding, then there will be certified lactation support. And I think the other part of emotional support is to also have friends and people who understand some of the challenges. Like for me, when I went through my first confinement with my first baby, it was very overwhelming for me because like I have so many people telling me what to do, what not to do. And then my nanny, she is from an agency, so what she was doing every single day was keep yamming and telling me to rate her positively on Facebook because they get additional money if they are
bonus.
rated. Yeah, bonus. So like I felt like I was trying to adjust as a mother, and then there was like so many different things and all, and that was one of the reasons why for my second confinement I did not have any nanny because I want my peace. So I have friends and people that I know of. They might get confined nanny for like the first or second week. It didn't work out for whatever reason. They tried to change, sometimes it again didn't work out, and they decided to forfeit as well. So knowing what works and don't work, and being very clear that different family and different people have different needs as well.
Yes,
it's so important.
Yes, so I agree with you. I find it important that young mothers or new mothers should seek advice, talk to people, but they should know who they are talking to and listen to reasonable and logical advisors. For example, my first confinement lady, she's an old-timer. She came from Bintan. She's not officially trained, but she has been confinement lady for like decades. So she is very good handling of babies and taking care of mothers and cooking. And she was totally uncomfortable with the idea that I want to go on a breastfeeding. Because when we want to go for breastfeeding, on breast milk, babies will need a feed every 2 hours.
Yeah.
Compared to formula milk, can last 3 to 4 hours. Yeah. So life is easier when the baby is on formula milk. But not because the confinement lady is lazy. It's not that. It's just that they have a perception that formula milk allow the babies to feel fuller, and so the baby will grow because formula milk are more thick compared to breast milk, which is more diluted from their perspective because they do not know the nutritious value. So they will try to tell me, go for formula, go for formula. So I would like to advise the new mothers to have an idea what you want and then take in advices selectively.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we know what we want, but when we come to doing it, it causes quite a bit of stress and probably frustration, whether is it within the family or not. And I think it's a matter of how we want to make changes or set the boundary. Like I think there were a few times that, you know, my confinement nanny also said the same thing, like, you know, like formula is better. First night go home already say the same thing already. So like my husband had to stand firm and intervene and tell the confinement nanny off. So having people on the same thing is important, and really to understand that, hey, not everything is set in stone. If it's causing a lot of stress, whether is it physical or mental stress, then I think it's a point of conversation to get curious. Hey, like, you know, is this really working out for me or not? Yeah.
So emotional support, we can talk to friends, we can talk to our spouse. But in terms of practical action, we tend to get very anxiety, we get very anxious when we don't know what to do with the baby. I remember when I had my first kid, and then my team director, Bernard, he popped his head over my office cubicle and said, hey, congrats on a newborn. I said, yeah, but first time mother, a bit worried. He just told me something. Babies will grow by themselves, all right? As long as they are well fed, they sleep enough, and they are kept warm, they will grow. Don't worry about the crying, because that's the only way that the baby communicate. They only know how to cry and smile, all right? So don't worry, as long as they are well fed, they sleep enough, and they are kept warm, they will grow for the first few months or even the first year. But I think there is one main concern that a lot of friends that they will share with me is that, after the baby shower, the confinement lady is going to leave us. I don't know what to do. All the hands and legs that have been helping us will go. I'm a total loss. And then they will try to extend the confinement lady by another 2 weeks.
Or even 1 month for some. Sometimes it's even 2 months confinement.
So what advice do you have for them?
So I think one of the things that I think is important is to allow a little bit of transition period where the confinement is ending. The last week would be a good timing for the parents, not just the mother, the parents, to learn very hands-on practical skills. So that's one option. The other option that is increasingly common is there are people who are so-called supporting parents and new parents, but they do like a live-out confinement service. So if let's say there's a need to kind of refresh and all, they charge by like a package or hourly basis, come in and, you know, make sure that, you know, any skills or gaps that is not gone through or for what reason. Or they can also bring the baby out for like vaccination if needed, or jaundice
so they
check.
get additional help.
Yeah, there's the additional layer of help required. So I know of a few professionals who are in this area who can support this, whether it's live out. And I think the other thing that is very important is to give ourselves that grace that we are also, as much as the baby is new into this world, we are also new parents, whether is it, even if it's a first child or second child or third child or more, every time there's a new child, it is a transition for everyone, including the parents, the older sibling and all. So it's really allowing that whole first, not just immediately after the confinement, but at least the first 6 months for everyone to adjust into the role. And I really like the way you say babies, they really have very basic needs of drink, milk, sleep, poop, cry. And crying is like the only way that they can communicate. And knowing the needs and attuning to the needs from the baby since young helps to kind of establish a bit of a rapport. So no matter what age they are, from baby until they're growing out, if there's a understanding of that, then it's easier to kind of attune to things.
So when my first confinement lady left, we already work out a schedule. Okay, so important to have a schedule. Baby likes routine. So when the baby wake up at certain morning, a time in the morning, drink milk, burp them, then they need to go for shower. Shower ready, then okay, everybody has different schedule. So I'm just sharing for example. Shower ready, then can hand wash out the baby clothes. But the baby shower ready, they will go and sleep, or they will just be awake and play for a while. So you have a certain schedule. And then for mother, right, based on this schedule, you slot in when are the timing that you need to do your express your milk or even breastfeeding. Alright. Then after playing the babies, after a while they'll go and sleep. So during the sleeping time, the mother also should take a rest. So you plan out a fixed schedule, start trial and error during a confinement, and when the confinement lady left or leave, you will not be so anxious because you have a schedule to stick to. And for the first few months, the baby will more or less follow that kind of routine because it's their body clock. I'm quite lucky. During my maternal leave, I have a baby, I do my confinement, and I also got my driving license. Okay, so the second point I want to share is get help. Because during my maternal leave, right, I need to get a license so that I can send my kid to preschool or the infant care, then go to work. Alright, so in between, I need to disappear for a few hours to go for driving lessons. And that's where the mother-in-law, my mother will come in, they will take turns to take care of the baby. So what I'm trying to share, like what Eva has mentioned, right, is that have a schedule, build out, get ready for it. Once the baby is run into that routine, get help to come and fill in your time slot so that you can free yourself out to do things and also get yourself ready for your work after your maternal leave, right? Yeah, but while what we are saying now is easy, and we went through it. During our confinement period, or even the first few months after our baby, right, there are times that our emotion actually go on a roller coaster.
It is.
Alright, and we have many times heard about postnatal depression and anxiety. And I believe some of your clients may have already approached you and asked for help. What are the signs of anxiety or depression that you think the husband or even the wife or the new mother should take note of and realize that something is not right?
First thing is to understand that it is not something that is bad or because of the mother do something wrong, but a lot of times it's really because of the hormones of the mother when they go through. And even for fathers as well, there's postpartum depression and anxiety for fathers as well. But one of the things that many psychiatrists look out for is to understand the activities of daily living. Are they eating well? Are these new parents sleeping well? Or are they being able to function, as a person generally? And if isn't in place or isn't seen that they can function well, or having certain thoughts that is not safe to herself or himself or the baby, then that will be a point where there needs to be a counselor or therapist to look up to work with them. So that's more of a mental health perspective. But if let's say the new mothers are generally trying to cope and having a good support and understanding of what is going on, they still can eat well, sleep well, drink well, talk to people comfortably, but it's a struggle. It feels like they are just, trying to make sense of the whole motherhood thing, what's the expectation on herself and other people's expectation about herself as a parent. Then I think that's where a coach like me can support to kind of help them to figure out and get a little bit of understanding of what are the concerns, where does it come from, and kind of like help the parent to know, okay, these are the things that you're going through. who you can speak with, how I can support you in finding that space to find yourself again, and also find ways to ground yourself when things are very stressful and challenging. So I do have like some techniques and tools and exercises to support them. Some of the mothers, they might find very anxious to leave their baby alone at home because of their own perception that, you know, as a good mother, I should be the one who take care of everything about the baby. And it just feels very daunting and scary to leave the baby and keep thinking what will happen if the baby is with like a nanny or helper or somewhere else.
So mostly the feeling of someone going into a depression is that they felt they have not done, the new mother has not done enough, has not done good enough to meet expectation.
And also they are in the spiral, they keep thinking over and over again, they cannot get out of the spiral. Like, you know, because I never do this, then I feel scared.
Because I do
worried.
this, the baby is like that.
The baby is like that, it's my fault, I'm not a good mother. So the whole thing about helping mothers to get out of the depression, anxiety is to really to look at what are the different reasons that is causing this spiral, whether is it anxiety or depression, or even some of them might have some trauma, birth trauma, that they are blaming themselves for what happened, because some people, they have very fixed mindset about their experience for birth,
or their family, the
or
environment.
their family telling them that this is better, this is not good, and then they just really cannot process the whole thing.
When hormones is at work, a lot of time we cannot control it. Okay, so when I'm have my new babies, and I just feel like crying. For nothing, I just feel like crying. So I would tell my husband, I'm going to cry. I'm okay, but I just want to cry. Then my husband also got bloodshot eyes. He got to eat all my confinement food, very heaty, right? Then he say, oh, okay. Then he will just ignore. He just sit beside there, and then I'll just cry. Cry finish already, I'll tell him that, oh, I'm done crying. Okay, so sometimes we need to release. But sometimes due to the environment, due to the new mother's character, they cannot release. They need to talk to somebody. And it is important that you talk to the right person, because if you talk to someone who is not trained, but it could be an experienced mother, but they are not trained to counsel or to guide you, they will come in with their own experience, they will put in their own expectation, and this conversation may actually stress the new mother some more. For example, this new mother could be depressed because she worried that she's not generating sufficient breast milk, and the baby is crying, the baby is hungry, and the baby is not growing. And this mother is blaming herself. So if she talked to someone who is very expert in breastfeeding, or rather very experienced, and this mother friend will say that, oh, you need to do this, you need to eat that, you need to sleep what, then you will have lots of breast milk. And this, everybody physical is different. Then this new mother will say, I still cannot get it. And end up, she become more depressed. So it is important to speak to a professional who will talk to the new mother in her capacity alone, and there's no comparison. Motherhood has no comparison. So true. Because when you compare, you are trying to meet somebody's expectation. So in motherhood, there's no expectation.
And I think one thing about expectation, it links to different people have different beliefs and values as well, as a person and as a family. And I think you are right to say that sometimes when we want to give advice, it's from a intention to share, but sometimes because we have our own perspective and beliefs, right? And to be honest, most mothers have their own set of understanding and beliefs as well, but when we try to impose our own perspective, it is not
may not help.
It's not helpful sometimes. They have very interesting ideas, some mothers, but we know that it may or may not work. But I think it's not about correcting them, it's about allowing them to realize that, okay, this is the thing that you want to do and explore, and it might not be what I agree with, but it's respecting that this is their journey to work out or figure out in their own ways.
Yes, so we both agree that we need to talk to the correct person. And we focus on taking care of the mother. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think a lot of mothers are overlooked as well. So that is one thing that I also am more cautious now, trying to see the mother and try to see what kind of support that she needs rather than, go and see cute baby and all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you talk about this, I realize my husband never buy things for me.
Nowadays people say what push present, all this. Will you feel better if you get a present? Like to say, thank you, Lao Po, thank you, wife, for.
I think we go through it quite well lah. We are still doing fine. We have 3 kids. Just 觉得, you forgot about me.
If you have that present, then you will feel like, you will feel like, okay,
so I
feel reassured.
I say, because now I have an expectation, because there's a comparison. So if before that I don't know, I feel better. Okay, fine. Okay. Never mind. Enough of me. Okay. So first year of the baby is kind of a milestone. And we talk about the confinement period. Do you have any advice on what a new mother should look up for within the first year?
Kind of figure out a certain rhythm or flow or routine for the baby, for the child. Knowing that in terms of returning back to work, what kind of support arrangements. So if let's say that choosing whether it's a helper or infant care, and if the child is at infant care, knowing what are the plans when the child is sick, because when they join infant care, sometimes this happens, not sometimes, quite often this happens. When they fall sick, who will be one who take care of the child and the baby when he or she is sick? And I think it's also about easing into a transition back to work for a mother as well, trying to understand the rhythm and trying to figure out the work rhythm, and if they are breastfeeding, pumping schedule and all. And if they choose not to breastfeed, then it's really about knowing who will be the person who take care of the different aspect of caring for a child. I feel that a lot of mothers sometimes feel like they are sacrificing a lot as a parent to a certain extent. You don't agree? What's your perspective around that?
Back then, it's all about them. We go to shopping mall with baby changing station, with hot water supply. Every trip we'll spend about an hour or 2 at those rooms, nursing room. Queue up for nursing room. We go to places where easy to find car parks, parking lots, etc. So our shopping venue is very fixed. And our grocery purchase item also very fixed the schedule. We will plan our purchase when there's a sales. We will plan our purchase when the milk powder is going to run out, when the diaper is going to run out. So end up the whole family gets into a routine. Then I don't remember how tired I was. My kids starting to grow out already. Your one is 2 years old, right?
Yeah, my youngest one is 2 years old now, and I think I think the first 2 years is always the more intense period where they are very dependent on the parent and the caregivers in a lot of aspects. Figure it out and supporting and nurturing the first 2 years, because routines are so important to create a predictability and a stability in a child's life.
As well as a family.
As a family as well. And in terms of attachment theory and security, that's actually one of the way to help the children grow and feel confident, to explore, to learn, to absorb what is happening around their own environment, whether it's at home or other areas, because they feel like very, very predictable, very, very safe in doing what they want to do and explore.
So I think we can both agree that in the first year of a child, of a new child, there are a lot of changes. And there are a lot of things that we need to watch out for. We need to look out for the mother's health, mental and physical health. We don't forget about the father as well. Okay. We need to take care of the children, of the new babies, and any other elder sibling in the family. And most important is that we need to manage expectation and how we handle the expectation. We must be very clear that we want to take care of our kids, but not trying to work based on other people's expectation, which gives us undue stress and anxiety. So important to talk to the correct person and listen to the correct advice. Yeah, something that doesn't give you more pressure and not living up to other people's expectation.
Give yourself the space to also do the things that we love to do. Because sometimes I think the routine, can get into the feeling that you are just doing. And then you forget that, I need to do this, I need to do this. Like you just keep thinking about doing things, but somehow forgetting that,
Love yourself.
Yeah, love yourself, that's one thing. But also recognizing that being a mother does not mean that we need to sacrifice all the things that we love, but also recognizing that, yes, it's a life change. It's a huge life-changing thing for most parents, but there are ways that we can do to allow someone to take care of the baby for afternoon and go to do something that they enjoy. Looking at ways to integrate the things that we love and also introducing our children some areas that we love as well. Like I like drawing sometimes, I like drawing, and sometimes I'll invite my children to draw with me and color with me.
Thank you, Ava. I think we have shared sufficient on what a family should look out for when having their new babies. And if they need help, feel free to talk to a professional.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.